My name's Rachel. I'll just show you some of the examples of what we'll be making today. We use jump rings in between each bead, and these are size 6 seed beads on a 1mm cord. The Rocailles, which are rather large seed beads. These are using crystal rondelles, and I love all the different buttons that you can get. This is using 8mm beads. I'm going to demonstrate using 8mm beads. These are actually acrylic beads. The button, it's a standard button size. The 1mm cord I'm using, I would suggest cutting around 26 inches, because you're going to be using it double, and by the time you've knotted as well, that's going to take up some of the extra length. If you're using 8mm beads, then the average number of jump rings you'll be using will be 22, and the number of beads around 24. So to begin with, I'm going to pop the cord up through the button. And what I would suggest before you even start is actually paint the ends with nail varnish, because it makes it so much easier to thread the beads on. Roughly the same. So we're going to do an overhand knot to secure that button in place. So I wrap that round my fingers, push the button through, and I hold my finger at the back whilst I pull it, and that way the knot won't end up much further down from the button. Pop on an 8mm bead. So you start with a bead rather than a jump ring. Now this tutorial assumes that you've already closed all of your jump rings up. These are thin jump rings in 5mm. So we've got a bead followed by a jump ring. So that is on the top, and our next bead we're going to feed onto this bottom one here. And we'll pop a jump ring on. So you pop both threads through the jump ring every time. You don't alternate the threads with the jump ring. So just to recap there, you've got one bead one side, a jump ring through both, and a bead on the other side, and then a jump ring through both. Continue alternating, and whether or not you're using smaller beads, Rocailles, crystals, it's exactly the same technique. And I'm going to switch in a moment onto one that I did last night, so that I can just show you how to finish off. So we've got a bead at the bottom, a bead at the top, but in between each bead you've got a jump ring that covers both cords. So you do that for the entire length of the bracelet. So I'm just going to switch over now to one that I did last night. Now these are check size 6 gunmetal, and I've used these, and it creates such a different effect. It's almost sort of a fabric like effect. Bottom with a jump ring in between, and you've got the button. So at the end you finish with a bead, and then we're going to do an overhand knot. So the idea is that we're going to make a button clasp, a button loop. So you've got the loop and you want it up nice and close. So I've just tied a loop the other side. I'm keeping it over the button, and that way before I pull it tight I can just double check that I've left enough room to manoeuvre. So you've got the button loop opening. Is what you can then do is you can then go on and make some decorative ends. So with these I've just popped a few seed beads on and put a knot underneath. So I hope you've enjoyed the tutorial. We have lots of tutorials on our YouTube online. So please tune in. If you could like our Facebook page too, that would be most appreciated, and subscribe to our channel so we can keep you up to date with any new videos. Thanks very much for viewing. Bye now.